Well, good morning. Welcome to American Reversion. I'm Steve Smith. Hope you all are having a good day. I am. It's a beautiful day here. Snowed last night. We didn't get all the snow we were supposed to, which kind of disappointed the kids, but they still got a day off, so that's good. And we're all going to take a walk in the snow later. Welcome to everybody. Hope you're all having a good day. Welcome to all the new subscribers. And I want to say a special thanks to everyone who's been joining up the last week or so. We're getting dangerously close to that 1,000 subscriber mark. And remember that I promised not to go swimming in any ice-covered lakes if we reach that 1,000 subscriber mark. But anyway, thank you for coming. We hope that you like and get something out of what you see here. Please hit the like, the thumbs up, and subscribe if you haven't. You might double check. I know that over on the other channel, I'm having people tell me that they have found that they've been unsubscribed. We know how that happens, right? So make sure that you do, and then share it with your friends if you would, because that's our whole purpose here, is to get our message out to as many people. Let me set this back here just a little bit. I tend to slouch in my chair, and I notice that as I go on and on and on, I get lower and lower in the camera. That probably comes from all those years sitting in a police car. I noticed. You ever notice that military guys and cops have a somewhat different posture? The military guys are always straight up, and the cops are kind of slouched over. That's from sitting in a Crown Vic for years. Well, I guess they don't do Crown Vics anymore, do they? But anyway, back to the point here. We have a lot to cover. CNN, right? CNN in the toilet, and Mark the Zuck just got let go. We'll talk about more of that in a second. Whoopi, oh man, you're going to learn a little bit more about her in a minute, I think, than you know. We've got a lot, like I said. I don't know if we'll get to all this today. Somebody said, man, you got too much, you ought to do a podcast. And I said, gee, that'd be great, but I don't know anything about podcasts, so why should I? Besides that, it looks like Joe Rogan has it all wrapped up, doesn't he? I guess that little tiff between him and Neil Young and Joni Mitchell and who else now? There's some other people that I never heard of, which I don't know if that means that they're nobodies or I'm just out of the loop. Could mean I'm just out of the loop. But I guess they're going at it. Old Neil Young, to quote one of my favorite bands or groups, old Neil Young can remember that Southern Man don't need him around anyhow. We'll see how that goes over there, but I don't know anything about podcasts. We'll just do what we can here. Okay, start off with Jeff the Zuck. He's out at CNN. He got the boot. Boo-hoo, right? Of course, I'm sure they let him resign. I forget. I didn't get too deep into the article. The gist of the thing is in the course of the investigation into Chris Fredo Como, they found out by asking Zucker if he had an improper relationship with one of the people that he worked with, and he did not disclose it. Oh, these morally superior people who put themselves in charge of what we should see and hear. Isn't that just sweet karma at work? Anyway, Zuck's out. He'll be replaced by somebody just as bad. Well, who knows? Who knows? Because CNN has lost 90% market share, right? 90%. Now, it's not going to kill them because they're owned by AT&T, so AT&T is going to prop them up. But and Zucker is credited with essentially driving CNN to the far left. It's always been a little bit to the left, but it's the way that the world viewed America and always has viewed America. If you've traveled outside the States, every airport that you're in, that CNN is on. It was only later on that Fox got on some of them, but it's still not on most of them. You go into any place, and to this day, it's unusual to go into any doctor's office, dentist's office, any place you are, and not have CNN on there. It's no wonder that so much of the country is misinformed, but they think they are, which is the problem with educated idiots. They think they're educated and they don't know. So we'll see what happens there. But, happy trails to the Zuck, and we'll see what they do over there next. The next one is just as, if not more juicy than the first, and that is Whoopi. Whoopi Goldberg. You've heard about what happened with her, right? This has implications beyond, I think, what many people quite yet understand. Do you know how she got her name, by the way? That's an interesting story. I'm going to talk about that in just a second. And it kind of fits into the story. But if you don't know how she got her name, you don't understand the whole story. Well, she made the statement on The View, which I don't watch. Yeah, big surprise. She made the statement that the Holocaust had nothing to do with race. And a couple of the other people on there, I didn't watch it, but I hear a couple other people on there kind of agreed with that, I don't know. But she's the one that's getting the hammer over this. So she said it was not about race, and of course everybody's up in arms because it was. I mean, it was against the Jewish people, not just against the Jewish people. Too many people think that it was just the Holocaust was about the Jews. It was about gypsies, and it was about all sorts of people that were the other, right? Well, so she has, she did the big old mea culpa. I am so sorry. I didn't mean what I said. I didn't mean what I said. That's not me. I would never say anything like that. But ABC, covering their butts, said, well, we're going to give Whoopi 2 weeks off to think about this, think about what a bad girl is. And then I'm sure they'll make something. There'll probably be a special involved here somewhere, right? Whoopi discovers her internal whatever, she will come out of this the expert, the one who is the moral barometer against which all other miscreants, who have found themselves can be measured. Well, here's something interesting. Big phonies come from little phonies, and, by their fruits shall ye know them. I wondered about this. I never knew this. I said, where did she get this Whoopi Goldberg anyway? I never knew. Maybe some of you do. But I did also see what drove me to this was when I saw a blurb someplace, and I didn't save that, by somebody saying, calling her to task on this and saying, you shouldn't call yourself Goldberg. You haven't earned the right, and boy, this goes to cultural appropriation big time. Okay, listen to this. If you don't know this, if you know this, you're going to be glad that I'm bringing it out to others. And if you don't know it, you're going to go, oh my gosh. Okay, so Whoopi, she was born Karen, not spelled the way that the Karen is spelled. She spells it Caryn, Karen Elaine Johnson. Known professionally as Whoopi Goldberg. This is coming from her wiki page. I'm going to get on down here and say what, let's see, I should have gone on down here. Where was it? Where'd she get her name? Yeah, okay. She stated that her stage forename, Whoopi, was taken from a whoopee cushion. Not surprising, is it? She says, when you're performing on stage, you never really have the time to go into the bathroom and close the door. What? Have you ever had time to go into the bathroom but didn't have time to close the door? I mean, is that not an idiotic statement to begin with? But anyway, this is what she maintains. This is part of her story. So apparently she didn't have time to always go into the bathroom and close the door. Where was I there? Close the door. Wait a minute. Okay, there I go. So if you get a little gassy, that's more than I wanted to know about Whoopi. You've got to let it go. Not like Frozen, let it go, but let your gassy go. The mental picture of that, I'm going to be working getting that out of my mind with Whoopi. So people used to say to me, You're like a whoopee cushion. And that's where the name came from. Okay, about her stage surname, Goldberg. She claimed in 2011, my mother did not name me Whoopi, but Goldberg is my name. It's part of my family, part of my heritage. Let me interject right here. For any of the new people here, I have said before that one of the things we do here on this channel is to provide you with information that you can present to your friends who may be on the other side of the aisle, those in the middle who just, and they're always, because much of the media is so quick to point out hypocrisy on the sides of the right and people they don't like, that sways their viewpoint on things. Well, the more information you have about these things, you can share it with people that you know in the middle or on the other side of the aisle, and it will have an effect. It will have an effect on the way that they look at these people, and it can sway what they think, who they vote for, how they feel about things. So here she says, I'm going to go back up, but that's why you want to know this. Share this with those people who said that I don't like Trump or I don't like whoever it was, because he's a hypocrite and all this. Okay. So again, my mother did not name me Whoopi, but Goldberg is my name. That's her quote. Okay. It's part of my family, part of my heritage, just like being black. And she says, I just know I am Jewish. I practice nothing. I don't go to temple, but I do remember the holidays. Okay, I remember, I don't know if that means she's trying to say she observes them or she just remembered, I remember it was Passover or something, Okay. She has stated that, quote, people would say, come on, are you Jewish? And I always say, would you ask me that if I was white? I bet not. Here again, throwing that, racism back on the other side. One account recalls that her mother, Emma Johnson, thought the family's original name was not Jewish enough for her daughter to become a star in show business. Well, now, if that's not racist, I don't know what is. Researcher Henry Louis Gates Jr. found that all of Goldberg's traceable ancestors were African Americans, that she had no known German or Jewish ancestry, and that none of her ancestors were named Goldberg. Although she said, that's my name, that's my family, that's my heritage, right? Results of a DNA test revealed in the 2006 PBS documentary African American Lives traced part of her ancestry to the Papal, I don't know how that's pronounced, and Bayot people of modern-day Guinea-Bissau. I don't know how that's pronounced either. Her admixture test indicates that she is of 92% sub-Saharan African origin and of 8% European origin. Well, oh, whoopee. The gaseous cultural appropriator, really named Karen Elaine Johnson. Well, that was let's remember that, shall we? When Karen Elaine Johnson comes back on The View and attempts to lecture other people on being authentic, pass that on to your friends. Let's staying with the racial implement here. We have something from Todd Starnes, and today I'm going to try to put all the links of these stories that I'm taking over on the Patreon page, so that when you go over there, and that is a way for the newer people, if you want to support this channel, it's a great way to do it. Go over and just become a patron. I put the link down there, and join us, be a part of the fight, and I'll put the links here that you can go to these things, so that when you share this with your friends, and they say, well, where did you hear that? You don't have to say, there's a guy on YouTube. You'll say, well, here it is, and I'll send you the link. So anyway, on Todd Starnes, parent says, my child's teacher lined up kids according to their skin color and made the white kids apologize to the black kids. Isn't that interesting? I'm sure that happens often the other way around, aren't you? Me neither. I'll put that link up over there. Okay. Now, we're going to get into this. This has a racial I keep saying element, too. Remember when I was talking the other day about the Chiefs and how I thought there was something fishy about that second half of the Chiefs-Bengals game? Okay. Well, it turns out Brian Flores alleged the Dolphins owner, Stephen Ross, offered him a bonus to lose games. Okay. This is not, it doesn't matter whether you like NFL or not, but or football at all. This is about the dirty, rotten world of professional sports and why I don't support them, why I don't suggest that people support them, and why I tell people they shouldn't raise their kids to idolize these players. Like I say, most of whom I wouldn't let in my garage, let alone my house. So Brian Flores has filed a class action lawsuit against the NFL for its racial hiring practices. The former Miami Dolphins head coach has been joined by a group of other black coaches in the suit. In it, Flores makes some incredibly eye-opening claims. One that stands out is an allegation that Dolphins owner Stephen Ross offered him bonuses to lose games and improve the team's draft position and was angry when the team kept winning. This is from theBigLead.com. Obviously, a sports that I just stumbled across. The suit claims Ross offered Flores $100,000 for each game the team lost in 2019. The relevant section of the lawsuit is below. I'll read this. In 2019, on the heels of his outstanding performance with the Patriots, Mr. Flores was offered the Miami Dolphins head coach position. By all accounts, Mr. Flores did a fantastic job in 3 seasons from 19 to 21. In his first year, Miami's gutted roster won 5 games despite many experts predicting a 0-16 season and one of the worst teams in NFL history. Let's get down here. Okay. The Dolphins owner, Stephen Ross, was unhappy with this performance, not because it was underperforming. To the contrary, Mr. Ross wanted Mr. Flores to tank the season to put the team in a position to secure the first pick in the draft. Indeed, during the 2019 season, Mr. Ross told Mr. Flores that he would pay him $100,000 for each game the lost that year. Then, when the Dolphins started winning games, due in no small part to Mr. Flores' coaching, Mr. Flores was told by the team's general manager, Chris Geyer, that Steve was mad that Mr. Flores' success in winning games that year was compromising the team's draft position. Well, lest we think that is an isolated incident, we have another story here from Pro Football Talk. Okay, Hugh Jackson suggests he was paid extra for losses as Browns head coach. Former Dolphins coach Brian Flores alleges, and this is referring to the previous story, the Dolphins owner Stephen Ross offered him $100,000 per loss during the 2019 season. And now, former Browns coach Hugh Jackson made similar allegations in response to Flores' lawsuit going public on Tuesday. Jackson responded to a tweet about the case by saying Browns owner Jimmy Haslam was happy while we kept losing, and then wrote, "Trust me, it was a good number," he says in quotes, in response to someone who said Haslam wasn't offering $100,000 per loss. Okay, well, there we have it, okay? All you people who think that sports develops character, there's that old saying, which I never believed since I was in sports. And they say that sports develops character. No, it doesn't. And there's a better saying that's more true, and that is it reveals character. And there's a whole lot of revealing going on here, isn't there? Okay, this is what we got here next is, here's another shocker. You want to hear some dirty business in the medical field? Biden administration, this is from the New American. The Biden administration paying doctors to push, you know what? Okay, I got to say you know what, because if I say the other thing, they will, that can't be allowed. That cannot be allowed because you can't hear it. I can say it, but you can't hear it. They will stop that. They'll put the wall down there. The Biden administration is paying pediatricians to advise parents to subject their children to one of the vaccines. In December, and now there's a scary part that's coming up, and it's really a knot about that. It's about something else. This first part is bad enough, but the second part. Okay, in December, the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, CMS, announced that it, quote, is now requiring states to cover counseling visits in which healthcare providers talk to families about the importance of kids, got it? So they're paying them for not to do that, but just a counseling session. So just by saying, excuse me, Mr. or Mrs. Smith, Brown, whatever, do you realize that it's extremely important to have little Timmy here get the, right? Then he codes that in, or his nurse codes it in, and they go, oh, bingo! Extra $1,000, whatever it is. I don't. There are exorbitant payoffs on these things. Could be 500, could be 100, could be 1,000. I don't know. Yep, we said it, and I'm saying it to every patient that I see, all 40 kids that I see today, and boy, 40 times whatever it is a lot of money. I'm going to get that new boat. That's bad enough. Here's something that's worse. The policy applies to all children covered by Medicaid. Okay, but here's the crux. Medicaid provides health insurance coverage to over 40% of all children in the United States and are a significant source of coverage for Black and brown children, notes CMS, indicating by its use of capital letter which children it provides more important. It considers more important, I'm sorry. Well, I'm not sure if that shows what children they consider more important, but it does tell you that 40% of the children in our country are covered by Medicaid, which means they're not being covered essentially by their parents, their family. Okay, well, we know that this is all part of the plan, right? See how we're doing on time here. This is all a part of the plan, but it's sickening. That is the destruction of a generation or more generations. Okay, and if you've heard me talk before, I mean, we now are in the fifth and maybe now the sixth generation of some families in which no one has ever had a job. That'll make you sick. Okay. Let's press on, shall we? Oh, the Quebec government, or Quebec. I think that's how it's pronounced up there. Quebec? Isn't that? Maybe I'm wrong. You Quebecers, let me know. Quebec abandons the policy of taxation on the unpoked. How about this? Have you seen that it's their little house of cards is crumbling all over the world? Excuse me for just a second. You may see that's my Second Amendment cup. I hope that doesn't violate any policies on here. Things are crumbling all over. Now, Austria, they have just passed a law, I think, or about to, that's going to require that every person in their country be a pokey, but the pokey little puppy, isn't that? Y'all remember that book? Okay, well, they're going to be a little pokey little puppies over there in Austria, because they passed a law, they're going to have to get it. But anyway, back up in Quebec. The Quebec government, I just love saying that, has abandoned its proposed plan to implement a health contribution tax. Who thinks this stuff up? Isn't it great? I mean, this newspeak, I'm not, they're not taking the money, I'm contributing. It's a health contribution tax on unpoked residents. I'll start that again because I kind of rambled in there. The Quebec government has abandoned its proposed plan to implement a health contribution tax on unpoked residents as the government looks to relax the restrictions. You know what restrictions I'm referring to. And Breitbart London says the majority of Canadians want all restrictions to end. Good for you guys. And support your truckers up there, will you? Support your truckers. You guys bring Canada back to the good, tough, free-living people you used to be, I always liked that song, I'm a Lumberjack, right from Monty Python, remember? If you all haven't seen that, you might YouTube that. You all need to get back to the tough lot, and I know some of you just always have been, that's fine, but stop letting these panty waists like Trudy, run your country, for crying out loud, just like you guys over in Australia. You're a tough lot. Get back to being tough and quit being so nice. Oh my gosh. Oh, here we go. Company, this was funny. I heard this yesterday. Well, it's not funny, but something came of it that was funny. Companies unexpectedly cut 301,000 jobs in January as Omicron slams the labor market. Oh, really? As according to ADP, which is a payroll company. They keep track of this stuff. So the private payrolls fell by over 300,000. And I just happened to have the radio on when that spokesperson over there, the presidential spokesperson, was rambling on about something. She says, it's you have to. We're letting you all know how to feel about this, how to think about it. We want you to understand what this means, that when those figures were taken, 9 million people were off sick because of the you-know-what, right? Apparently, she's never had a job because, as well as I do, that on the rare occasions that those of us who are responsible people would take a sick day, we didn't become unemployed, right? We were sick. And we usually come back the next day. We weren't unemployed and then became reemployed. But that's the way that they want to spin it. Again, another way for the people who don't deal in reality to try to get other people to ignore reality themselves. Okay, all of this. Now, remember that story that we just talked about? All those extra money that was be paying out to doctors who would just interject in their conversation how important it was for little Johnny to get, what. Well, of course, that's all being paid by the government, right? And, of course, they are perfectly able to do that because our national debt just surpassed $30 trillion for the first time in history. You all... I know you're shaking your head like me, right? We know what a mess this is, and we see the house of cards crumbling. We see the potential. There's a lot that I can't get to today because we're out of time, but I'll try to get to it tomorrow. But we see big things happening, big potentials happening in our world, politically, economically, and it's going to be important to keep up with it. There is something that I put up over on the Patreon channel. I'll remind you again, if you'd like to see all the extra stuff, go down here, click the Patreon, come over, join us for $1 a month. And because I'll put all the links to the things that I covered here over there. And I put something else up over there that's kind of a crazy deal. If this is in the planning stage, it would be something to watch. I don't know whether it is or not, but it'd be something to watch if it is. Anyway, I'm going to tie that up for today. Wish you all a good day. Again, thank you for being here. Spread this around to your friends. We're chasing that 1,000. I wouldn't be surprised we'll hit it by the end of the day, but then we got to chase 1 million, right? 1,000 today, 1 million someday. And then we get that word around. So thank you again. Remember that the country and the world, actually, but this country needs a reversion. It needs you to be a part of it. You all have a good day. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.